Hi guys, in this video let us see how to use the pivot operator in SQL Server using a scenario. So for this we are going to use this given requirement to explain this pivot operator. So the requirement today is like we need to find the number of products sold under each category on a particular date. So the output will be in this format, that is the sell start date, and under each of the categories you can see the number of products that got sold on the particular day. For example, if you take a particular day, you can see how many products got sold under each category. Like if it is bikes, under bike category we got like 30 products got sold, and if it is like clothing, under that category we got like 7 products that got sold on this particular date. So this is the given requirement, and using this we'll explain how to use a pivot operator. So if you want to learn SQL using practical scenarios like this, check out a free SQL course. We have provided the link to the free SQL course in description. So let's get started now with this requirement. So in order to solve this particular requirement using the pivot operator, we need to find like three information. One is the product names, because we need to find the number of products under each category. So first we need to find the products and their category and the date on which they are sold. So this three information we need, okay, in order to construct a query that can display the output in this particular format. Okay, so let us see how we can like get this three information, that is the product names, the category and the date information. So we have constructed this query, okay, using which we can get this information like product name and the category to which the product belongs, and the subcategory name to which this product belongs, and the sell date. Okay, so this is a query which we got from our previous video. So previously we explained how to do a multiple joins in SQL with the help of a scenario. If you check the previous video, we have explained step by step how this particular query can be constructed. So we want you to check this video, how we constructed this query step by step before we proceed forward. So the link to the previous video is shared, you can check it. So in that video we have explained how to write a multiple join. So this output we see is from that previous scenario which we constructed using multiple join, and this is the query we used in our previous scenario. So we would recommend you to first check that video so that it will be easier for you to understand this query. Okay, so we are using the query from the previous scenario here. Okay, so here if you see we have this product name, category name, subcategory and sell start date. And if you come to this scenario for today, we need only three information, that is the products, category and the date information. So we don't need this subcategory name, so let us just remove this. Okay, so when I run this one, we got only the three required columns. Okay, so the requirement, if you see, we want to display certain values from the column. So if we come to this category names, we have components, accessories, like this we have this category names, right? So what we need to do is, from this column values we need to pick the distinct column value. Okay, for example here if we consider this column, the distinct values are component, accessories, clothing, like this we have distinct column values. We want to change this column value as column name. Okay, like this if you see here we got components, clothing, accessories, bikes, like that the column values, the distinct column values, if you see bikes, component, like that the distinct column values we need to change them as column name. Okay, that is the first thing. If you check this requirement, see that is the first thing we have done. And the second is the values for each of the component is nothing but the number of products sold on each of those dates. Okay, for example if you see on this particular date, it shows how many components got sold, that is 2 products got sold. So if we come here, see components, and we have this day, right, 2008 430. So you got 2008 430, that is April 30th. Components is 2, right? So this column value becomes the column name. Okay, and how many items got sold, that is how many products got sold in that particular date, like this is the particular date, we need to mention that under that category name. So if it is components, like this, if it is components, we need to mention for that particular date 2 products got sold. So you can see here, right, on this particular date 2008 430 we got like two components that got sold. Okay, this because this is the sell start date from which you'll get the information on products that got sold. Okay, and this is the category name that will become the column name, and under which you will count how many products got sold. So here it is two, right? Two products got sold for this category on this particular date. Likewise, we need to calculate for each of these dates, okay, how many products got sold under those categories. That is, for each of these dates we need to find how many products got sold in each of those categories. Okay, like this it should be. So the date, each of these dates, we need to find how many products got sold in each of those categories. Like this we need to construct our query. So for this what we need to do is we need to interchange this column values as column names, right? So for that we can use operator called pivot operator. So using that pivot operator, what we can do is we can change the column values as column names. Okay, so whatever distinct column values we have, that will be changed as a column name. Okay, so let me show you step by step how we can construct this query. Okay, so that we'll see this output. Okay, from this output, okay, this is the output which we got from our previous scenario, that is our previous video. So we will see how this can be converted into this particular format, okay, using a pivot operator. So let us consider this, the whole set of value as a source table. Okay, because from this particular result set we are going to convert. So if you see the whole output, right, the whole result set we are considering as a derived table. So the derived table is going to be called as source table. Okay, so from this result set, okay, what we want to do is, because if you run this one, this is the result set we are having, right? So in this we want to pick the distinct column values, okay, from this column category name. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll use this pivot operator. So we'll just provide a name for this derived dataset. For this particular dataset, we've named it as source table, and whatever we get from this pivot operator, right, we'll call it as pivot table. It can be any name. I'm just giving it pivot table. Okay. So here what we need to mention is, let me first try this one and I'll explain you. Okay, so for our requirement this would be the condition. Okay, so what this particular statement says, for each of the category name, okay, what we are going to do is, like here we have this category name column, right? So this is the column name, the category name. Okay, so this is the column name we are mentioning here. So what we are doing is, for category name in, okay, so we are going to mention this distinct values here. So what we are going to do is we can get this distinct values from the table category. So if you come to this requirement, we have a table called production.product category, so where we can get this distinct values. See, you got like distinct column names, right? Bikes, components, clothing, accessories. Okay, so just mention this names here. So if you see, from this category name we are just choosing only this distinct values. The distinct values are going to be bikes, components, clothing, accessories. Okay, these are going to be the distinct values from this particular, okay, column category name. Okay, that's what we mentioned here. And for this we are going to count. Okay, what we are going to count, we are going to count how many products are there. Okay, how many products are there in each of this component. So for this we are going to mention this column name. This is product underscore name. Okay, so here if you see, for each of the category names, okay, the distinct category names from this column, category underscore name, we are going to count the product names. Okay, we are going to count this product names using this particular aggregate function. So we're going to count the number of products using this count function, right? So let me just run this one so that you'll understand what happens here. See, now we got this required output, but you may have a doubt like, okay, how we got this cell start date, okay, from where we got the cell start date. So what happens here is, in this pivot, if you see, we only used two column names. Okay, so from the pivot derived table we only use two column names, that is category name and product name. But if you see the cell start date, right, it is from this derived table source table, right? From the source table we are getting this cell start date. So what happened is, so it was not like pivoted means its value was not like converted into column names, because we are just getting this value cell start date from this source table. But in this pivot operator, right, like in this pivot table, this is a derived table. In this, what we are going to do is, we are just taking only this category name and product name and converting them as column names. So if you just see this output from this source table, let me run it again, you can see we got category name, product name and cell start date. But in the final output you can see the cell start date is just like this. Okay, only the distinct values are there, but you could see this category name, right, those values got changed into column names. So if there are components, accessories, each of these distinct values became a column name, and the value for each of these columns, right, the new columns like components, accessories, clothing, like that, each of these columns has a value that is nothing but the number of products. Okay, the number of products from this column product underscore name. So in this pivot, right, pivot operator, we are going to use this category name and product name, and this cell start date just comes out from this source table. That's why in the final output, when you see cell start date was not affected, you just got the distinct cell start dates. We got only the distinct values of the cell start date, but the bikes, components and clothing, accessories, all these product categories, those column values became the column names now, and each of this category gives the number of products sold on a particular day using this particular line. For category name in bikes, components, clothing and accessories, that is for each of this category, what we are going to do is, we are going to count the number of products, okay, based on the cell start date. Okay, so for each of these categories, on a particular day we can see how many products got sold. Okay, so here we have used this pivot operator to change the distinct column values into column names. So this is the use of a pivot operator in SQL Server. So if we come to this requirement, you can see we got the same output here, the cell start date, the category and the number of products sold on each of these dates, right? Like clothing means like we got the number of products sold on a particular date. If you come to accessories, you got the number of products that got sold on a particular date. So let's take this as an example to verify if this data is correct or not. The accessories category, if you see, there are like 7 products that got sold on this particular date, right? So what we'll do is we'll just try to find what is the accessories category ID. Okay, so if you come to this given tables, right, let us just query this table so that we'll get some idea. So you can see accessories, right? Like for accessories, we need to verify if 7 products got sold on this particular date, right? So accessories means, let's see what is the category ID for this one. So accessories means it's like category ID 4, right? So we'll go to the second table, that is product subcategory, from which we'll get the subcategory ID. So this now I'm doing just to verify if the output is right or not. So if you just query this one, you can see product subcategory ID and product category ID. But we know that accessories means it belongs to product category ID 4. So we'll filter it out. So we got all the columns, but we just need the product subcategory ID. Okay, to verify if our data is right or not. Okay, so when you run this one, these are the subcategory IDs for the category accessories, because we know accessories means the ID is 4. So we got all the subcategory IDs, right? Now we can verify in the main table, that is the product table, if those many items got sold or not on a particular day. We have this common column product subcategory ID in this table production.product. Okay, we'll just filter out for the only required product name and sell start date, right? And also we want to look for only for that particular sell start date. So if you run this again, you can see for this date, okay, for this date the accessories category had like 7 products got sold. So let me just take this sell date, and the sell date column belongs to this production.product table. Okay, so we'll get this product name and the sell start date. It's going to be the same sell start date. I'm just like including that in the output just to make sure we get the sell start date, okay, for only those product subcategories that belongs to category accessory. Okay, so let me just run this one. So now you can see we got the sell start date, right? So this is the sell start date 2012 0530. Okay, on this particular sell date we can see we got 7 items sold. Okay, and from this table we know that these items belongs to the category 4, that is accessories. So it means under accessories 7 items got sold on this particular date, that is 2012 530. So if you run this main query which we constructed, you can see, right, on this particular date the under category accessories we got 7 products got sold. So in this way we can verify the output.